High school students go to the Philippines to build houses for impoverished families. Tzu Chi's first ever relief mission comes after fire destroys village over Mid-Autumn Festival. I'm Sean Scanlon. This is DaAi Headlines. 6 students from the Tzu Chi Senior High School affiliated with Tzu Chi University originally planned to spend their last summer going abroad on a vacation. However, one of them suggested that they should do something more meaningful. They eventually agreed to sign up to become international volunteers in the Philippines, building houses for impoverished families.
The improved version of the bamboo dance couples with familiar fishing songs. Every child is playing happily. This group of big brothers and sisters do not only lead group activities. It is hard to believe that at age 17, these high school youth can build a house.
This is a family of 5. All of them squeeze in the small room. They think that it is too small. We help them to build a small house so they can have more space to sleep. They will be more comfortable.
The youth is cutting up bamboo suits for building materials, which are all taken from the nature. A group of Taiwanese youth came to the small island in the Philippines as international volunteers to help the impoverished.
We only got to know there were only wood and bamboo when we arrived. Initially, we thought there would be bricks or other building materials. It turned out that we assumed too much.
We have no strength to hit the nails. They were weakly inserted. Then we have to move things. However, the locals were more powerful than us.
6 Hualien Tzu Chi Senior High School affiliated with Tzu Chi University students plan to spend their last summer vacation in high school abroad originally. However, they chose to be the volunteers in the Philippines in the end, leaving them a more memorable time.
There's no washing machine. We need to draw water from a well to wash our clothes. It was very inconvenient and the clothes were not clean enough. When I came back to Taiwan, I realized that we might be using too much water.
When we are in Taiwan, we can easily get access to air conditioning or take a long shower. However, when I came back, I found that we have wasted too much.
Spending 10 days away from their comfortable life, the youth has lived a simple life among the locals. This not only leaves the youth with a good memory, but also changes their outlook on life.
A strong earthquake happened on Bohol Island, the Philippines, in 2013. Since this time, Tzu Chi has conducted a lot of charity work in the area. Volunteers also notice that some of these remote schools do not have enough books for the children to read. So they donate different kinds of books to these schools, helping these students broaden their horizons.
The school building is simple with narrow and small classrooms. This is a city in Bohol Island. Tzu Chi volunteers donate books to many remote schools.
From digital age na takaron.
Although we are in the digital age and can obtain a lot of information from the internet, these books are still very important to the students. Thank you, Tzu Chi, for these books.
In addition sa ilang mga textbooks diri sa school.
Tzu Chi volunteers are very attentive in picking the right books for the students of specific ages. For example, the volunteers pick the picture books for the kindergarteners.
These books are very colorful. The kids like drawings and pictures very much. They also like to listen to stories in class. Thank you, Tzu Chi, for donating these books to us.
These books are the best sources for our homework. If we can't understand what the teachers say in class, there are some examples in these books to help us understand quickly.
Every book is a key to help children explore the world. When you open a book, you also expand your horizons.
There are many left-behind children in Liancheng's mountainous area. Tzu Chi volunteers went there to send daily necessities to these families. Additionally, supplies such as books of Jingzi aphorisms have been donated to help local schools and kindergartens.
Bring materials that children need. Fujian Tzu Chi volunteers went to Changcheng mountainous area to send gifts of love to 495 families with left-behind children in 17 schools.
This pencil case is my favorite. I have never seen this before.
On this day, 7-year-old Xiang Fengsen, whose parents are working in the city, told his 5-year-old sister to collect materials. At a young age, he kept the words of volunteers in his heart.
这个是什么？什么做的？刚刚师姑介绍。
矿泉水。
哎呦，真的很棒
的，对，矿泉水瓶做的哈。
所以以后我们喝完水的矿泉水瓶都要给它
回收
起来，保存好。
Volunteers not only brought in material aid, but also sent care and love to the families, warming their hearts.
看你们这么有爱心，我就心里面很感动。我也想。
I am very touched by your compassion. I also want my child to have a caring heart just like you when he grows up.
爱心像你们一样先爱心。
希望这些孩子呢，能够多一点。
I hope that these kids are able to receive more care, which can nurture their young mind, so that they are happy in the process of growing up.
就是能够也得到一些幸福感这样。
In addition to items they need for daily living, volunteers donate Jinshi books meant for children and youth to some of the schools.
Because we are encouraging children to read more and also preparing to set up a library, a larger library, so the books which are donated from Tzu Chi are really enriching our collection. We really need the books very much.
Volunteers provide spiritual supplies to mountain schools so as to bridge their gap with urban schools for the amount of educational resources.
TIMA members from different parts of the world gathered in Hualien for the annual TIMA convention, which coincides with the Mid-Autumn Festival. The 4-day convention discussed how long-term care and AI in the medical field, with volunteers hoping to bring what they learned back to their countries. They also hope to recruit more people to join TIMA to help more people in need.
The 4-day TIMA convention of 2019 has come to an end. Seeing medical professionals gather at the Hualien Jingsi Hall to fulfill their vows, a former Tzu Chi remembers her promise to Dharma Master Cheng Yen.
I still remember the master expectations of Tzu Chis. I also hope in the future I can inspire more youth and recruit more Tzu Chis to join TIMA.
The superintendent of Jordan's Al Bayadr Surgical Hospital worked with Tzu Chi to perform surgeries on patients 2 years ago. Seeing how the volunteers help refugees selflessly, he has been deeply touched.
Going back to Jordan to take all what I believe, what I take from here, and starting to do, first of all, to do a medical dental clinic to give a smile for the patients here, and to increase my effort and work with the TIMA group, inshallah.
Volunteers are not paid because they are priceless.
Tzu Chi volunteers who practice compassion and give without asking for anything in return work to alleviate people's suffering.
无言大慈，同体大悲啊，共同呢成为天下大爱，不分肤种，不分国籍，不分宗教，为天下苦难付出。这就是我对大家呢最大的期待。
Having recharged themselves at the TIMA convention, 506 medical professionals and volunteers hope to do their best to help more people in need in different parts of the world.
"50 years ago, a fire broke out the night of the Mid-Autumn Festival in Taidong's Beinan Township. The fire, which was fueled by strong winds, engulfed the entire village and killed 47 people, leaving 700 people homeless. Master Cheng Yen brought 148 blankets from Hualien to Taidong to conduct Tzu Chi's first ever aid distribution. One particular recipient saved the blanket all these years and donated it back to the organization.
Dongxing Village is home to many of Taidong's Rukai people, but this region of the Central Mountain Range has been through a lot. Beinan Township's Dongxing Village has about 500 families living here. It's a traditional tribal village. At the entrance to the village, a plaque has been erected to memorialize a fire that happened here.
That fire was so scary. Even the road was on fire. It burned up our straw homes.
The wind blew the fire to the second home. Those who wanted to run couldn't, because when we ran, the fire would show up in front.
50 years ago, during the Mid-Autumn Festival, a fire broke out in the village, burning down the homes. 47 people of the village died and over 700 were left homeless. Back then, Tzu Chi Foundation had only been established for 3 years.
大家都说我们没有钱啊，如何救啊？没有钱也要想办法，只要人人有信心，答应说好，我们呢要共为一心，为了这个村庄呢，我们来付出。
With a shortage of manpower and funds, volunteers still managed to bring relief to others.
We had few volunteers and no money. Still, we promised to do it. Although the master was worried, we still went ahead and did it. If you ask the master to stand there and do nothing, she cannot do it.
We went some 10 days to check on the conditions and came back. Then we organized a few things and went once more. We spent a lot of time.
As there were no Tzu Chi volunteers in Taidong then, Master Cheng Yen and the rest of her disciples took a 5-hour train from Hualien to the disaster zone to conduct their assessment and aid distribution. The blankets given in the distribution was the solace the victims needed.
有送毛毯来。有一件。对哦，那时候刚好可以盖哦。
那个时候可爱这下他们给他盖的。
One blanket covered 7 people. We all crowded together underneath it on the floor.
The blanket with the tag of Hualien Buddhist Tzu Chi Foundation kept Shen Weixin's family warm for a few winters.
I've kept the blanket from the master because I valued it in my heart. Life was difficult for me then, and that blanket protected me.
20 years after that fire, when the volunteers from Taidong saw the blanket once more, it inspired Mr. Shen to donate the item back to Tzu Chi as a way of expressing his gratitude.
We were surprised in a good way. It was evidence of love, and we were extremely moved.
He said he wanted to thank the person who gave him this blanket, so he wrapped it in many layers and threw some mud balls in it to prevent bugs.
伊当阵摕到这领毯啊吼，百感交集呀。迄当阵的一领毯也是安尼碰吼，新的嘛，足大领的吼，竟然呢摕转来真正有影真有价，价一寡门吼，拢安尼差不多落了啊吼。
The first ever distribution held by Tzu Chi also became a model of how the foundation conducted their relief efforts, with speed, efficiency, and love.
Dongxing Village's former name sounded similar to big disaster in Chinese. So after a great fire in 1969, the name was changed. In the tribal village, Tzu Chi seeds of compassion found deep roots, with local resident Su Meilian finding comfort in Master Cheng Yen's teachings, and Liu Yunying becoming the first certified Tzu Chi volunteer in the community. Let's see how Tzu Chi's love for this village never left from day one.
Back then, some 40 people died. I would never forget it. Each year, nearly mid-autumn, I'm reminded of it.
你们家有收到毛毯吗？
有啊。
所以你那个时候有看到上人来？
有，那时候很年轻。老人啊，这个没电视出来呀。哎呀，你知道？知道。就是他来发的，对不对？对。
50 years ago, Master Cheng Yen hosted the first ever aid distribution for fire survivors at the emergency shelter. Su Meilian, who was 4 at the time, never forgot that compassion.
Master Cheng Yen has a book called Lamp of the Heart that gave me the strength to live. When I'm feeling bad, I will pick it up and read it, and it renews my spirit. I always have it in my mind that I hope one day I can meet Master Cheng Yen.
Despite religious differences, Su Meilian takes care of her 95-year-old father and is also a volunteer at a senior daycare center, fulfilling her filial piety. Meanwhile, her neighbor Liu Yunying is also deeply connected with Tzu Chi.
I was on the train and I saw a bunch of Tzu Chi volunteers. Their faces were very kind, and I wondered if joining Tzu Chi made them that way. I thought one day I wanted to give it a try. Then in 2005, when I moved back to Taidong, I saw Sister Meizhu wearing the Tzu Chi uniform. I just kept staring at her, knowing I must try to get closer to her.
Sister Meizhu helped Liu Yunying get past the loss of her husband 2 years ago, and also helped her become the first Tzu Chi volunteer in the tribal village.
She fits in well here and doesn't come up against obstacles like some may do. I think it must be how she solves problems with her life experience.
When I joined Tzu Chi, I was being nice to others. But why couldn't I be the same with my family? My daughter once told me that she's felt blessed ever since I joined Tzu Chi.
The seeds of love planted years ago has now flourished in Dongxing. In the years since, Tzu Chi's presence remains.
Many of the care recipients here are because the adults have health problems and their children's education gets neglected.
For instance, Miss Du, who has back problems and cannot work, she has trouble putting her children through school, yet she's not alone.
We are still receiving help from Tzu Chi in terms of my children's education. My youngest is in the 5-year junior college, and you are still providing financial help to us.
The 50 years of friendship remains strong as challenges big and small are overcome with Tzu Chi by their side.
After the 9/21 earthquake, many affected residents had to regroup and rethink how to make a living. Back then, the Ministry of Culture suggested rebuilding different communities based upon regional characteristics. Many of the hard-hit zones rebuilt their homes by living in harmony with nature. Let's take a look at a few places which recovered nicely since the 9/21 quake.
We have a lot of wetlands in this area. The water is very clean, as dragonflies are an indicator of good water quality.
Taomi is located on the southwest side of Puli with its sea level of 400 to 800 meters. The natural ecology here is very abundant.
We can see here, there is a very cute Kama rose. Do you see the Kama rose caterpillar?
When the 9/21 quake hit, over half of the homes in Puli fell apart. The devastation was especially hard on the already declining business in the area. This was when the New Homeland Foundation stepped into Taomi to help it rebuild and recover.
When we were doing inventory, we discovered Taomi's abundant ecology. We took ideas from overseas and planned a Taomi tourism area in combination with an eco-village.
In these wetlands, I discovered it was home to a lot of frogs, dragonflies, and other aquatic organisms. So during the rebuilding, we retented these elements.
Thanks to the support of the community, there are over 30 local guides who can lead and explain the attractions, more than 40 bed and breakfast inns to stay at, and 100 some wetlands to explore. Each year, tourists number in the 400,000s, bringing in 100 million NT dollars of green business. In 2008, the New Homeland Foundation brought in the paper church built for the Kobe earthquake in Japan to Taiwan. The paper church was donated to Taomi and now helps the community sustain its livelihood inside the Paper Dome New Homeland Educational Ground.
Taomi community took their unfavorable conditions and made it favorable. The place ecology could be said to be the most useless element, but it has been changed into the most valuable selling point.
Sheshui community, located in the northernmost region of Yuchi Township, grew mostly betel nut trees as a cash crop. When the 9/21 quake happened, the prices for betel nut fell and local residents had to rethink their income strategy. They cut down their betel nut trees and began tea farming.
Sheshui was a tea farm during colonial Japanese era. Those who had property would grow black tea, so we decided to bring it back and make it a high-quality black tea this time.
Currently, 70 to 80% of Sheshui residents are involved in the black tea business, using up over 2.9 million square meters of land as tea farms. Sheshui is also known for a special type of clay suitable for pottery.
Sheshui is known for making Baixian clay. It was sold to Yingge district for their pottery making.
Located on the south side of Yunlin's Gukeng Township is Hualien community, which has stabilized its income on growing coffee beans.
Hualien, this area is a hilly region. It is considered a lower mountain region of Yunlin County. It's a place to stop and look at details during the fast pace of life. In the colonial Japanese era, this area grew coffee.
That year, the mudslide from the second peak mountain and the big peak mountain above Gukeng nearly destroyed the village below. In 2003, the Soil and Water Conservation Bureau established the first mudslide educational grounds in Taiwan in the area.
The Soil and Water Conservation Bureau planned for 3 silt dams, 1 measuring dam, 2 steel dams. After these were completed, during Typhoon Morakot, the number 1 dam was able to block out 60,000 cubic meters of muddy debris.
With their own hard work and help from the government and private enterprises, local residents of various hard-hit quake zones found ways to rebuild their lives, as well as maintaining a balance within the ecology.
The U.S. Tzu Chi, New Jersey chapter was invited by the city government to participate in the National Night Out activities, including visiting the police station and learning about firefighting equipment, which can help save lives. Tzu Chi volunteers shared their international disaster relief experience and introduced the spirit of the Tzu Chi Bamboo Bank. We'll leave you with this. Goodbye.